another video. So today we are going to be filming our teaching experience over the past year. Well, for me, it was my first year teaching. For him, it was your third year, right?
Third year.
Good.
Third.
Yeah, so it was his third year. So we're going to kind of reflect on that. Do you want to start, or do you want to kind of go back and forth?
I'm just going to jump in off of yours because I've already been where you're at.
Okay.
So I'm just going to jump in as needed.
Okay. So I'll start. So I started teaching in November of 2018. Yes, because it's 2019. November 2018, which most of you know in most states, school starts in August. So I did a whole video previously on that whole experience, how I manifested this job, etc. And let me just tell you, starting a job in the middle of a school year when a class has already been through so much, the kids have experienced some, I would call it trauma, because their teacher just pretty much cleaned classroom up and left them. And I teach kindergarten, and you teach
sped and
special education, for they won't know.
I'll get it.
So yeah, so I taught kindergarten, he taught fifth, and some other grades here and there. But anyway, so my first year going into it, I had teaching experience at an early learning center with 4 and under. But my classroom, that was my classroom, it was 2-year-olds, so that's what I was used to. So anyways, let me kind of speed it up. Going into a kindergarten classroom where there was a curriculum, where it was like a whole different world. Like kindergarten in itself is a whole nother world. And so learning all these procedures that the district that we work in, which we're not going to say the district, just FYI. So the district that we work in was a lot, and it was hard. Like I literally, the first day of work, y'all, they literally walked me into the classroom and was like, all right, bye. And I was just like, okay. Like you're able to hear that.
I know, I'm scribing the notes from the video.
No, you not. He over here doing homework. Can you not click clack? It's gonna be super loud because the camera's gonna pick all of it up. Thank you. So yeah, it was a lot. Like they literally dropped me off in my classroom and was like, all right, and the kids were just like, so who are you? Like, what are we gonna do? And I had no clue because, like I said, I had never taught in a district before. So that was a lot, and I literally probably cried. Surprisingly, I didn't cry as much as I thought I would, right? I think I've only had like one breakdown. I cried a lot.
She cried a lot.
I don't think I cried a lot. What's a lot?
I'll say minimum 8 times.
What?
Minimum.
What?
Break? Break?
No.
I'll get into
about
it once we get
teaching?
into that. Yes,
now,
about
probably about some
teaching,
other stuff.
about the kids. But we'll get into that.
I don't think I cried 8 times. That's a push. I will say it was hard. It was hard. But then I kept having to remind myself, like, I have a background in social work. And so I had to remind myself, like, that is my strong suit. Like, I can do this. I know how to deal with behaviors. I know how to deal with, kids kicking chairs over and doing all the extra because they have some other issues going on. So that was my strong suit in the classroom, and I think that is something that carried me through my year, half a year, however. Baby, can you please wait
I'm
till after?
scribing.
No, please.
I'm scribing.
You're not. You're talking about Dr. Barker. That was a lot. But like I said, I think that carried me through my school year, just having those skills of knowing how to build social skills in the classroom, knowing how to get the kids to work together, knowing how to build a school family, things like that. So that was my strong suit. And I can say teaching as a whole was a struggle because I didn't know what the hell I was doing. I was just like, okay, like, let's go with the flow. I know, but I will say my kids did really well in some areas, just given the fact that I had been giving them mid-school year, first year teaching, blah, blah, blah. And even some teachers around me were like, you did really good, like, considering the circumstances that you were put in.
She won teacher of the decade, month, year,
Oh, yeah,
week.
I did win teacher of the month.
I don't have that yet.
So So that was a big accomplishment for me.
Friends,
You're my boyfriend.
oh, fiance now. Yeah. Inserts fiance teacher of the year award. I can't show you because the district is on it. But
Wait, what is that? Give me back. What did it say?
Don't worry about it. 'Cause
Yeah, you're trying.
teacher of the year.
You want teacher of the year?
Something like that.
So he wants some. He got some accolades too. So I'll let you talk, and then I'll kind of piggyback off of.
Okay. I wasn't prepared to talk, but sit.
What do you mean you weren't prepared to talk,
Sit.
boy?
All right. My background, I had the same situation as my fiance. I came in the
Oh
middle
wait,
of the
pause
year.
real quick. Y'all see he keep flashing his ring. So yes, he has his engagement ring on. He wears the ring as well, and mine is being sized, so this is a fake one. But anyways, okay, go ahead.
Similar situation. I can't remember exactly what month it was, but I did. My dog, y'all. I did start in the middle of the year as well.
It was like
Same scenario. The kids had, they had been through a lot. I was a substitute physical education teacher assistant. So for short, just helping the PE teacher with whatever they needed. My boss came to me and asked me if I had ever thought about teaching, and my answer was no at that time. Why don't you take these tests? We may have something opening up, whatnot. And that's one thing about me. If somebody says, go do something, and they're up here above me, I take it as a hint. So I went and did it, got certified, and he ended up giving me a job. My first year teaching was in a special education class, self-contained. They still go out to gen ed as appropriately. Fast forward to now. This year was unique for me because although I was the SPED teacher, I also co-taught, what did I co-teach? Everything. Math, language arts, science. In the ELA, that's the reading, the writing, everything we all didn't like.
Y'all, and people will come to him to ask for tips on reading, right? Wasn't reading one of your strong points?
It is.
Like,
I don't agree with it, but
he had coworkers.
Math is my subject.
He had coworkers coming to him asking for help. And what's crazy is he likes math, but reading was his strong suit in his work environment, and mine was flipped. I felt confident teaching reading, but when you looked at my data, math was my strong suit as far as what my kids performed in math. Anyways, go ahead.
I'm going to talk my strengths first, and I'm going to bounce back between my first year and year 3 now. My strengths that I have are my classroom management, relationships that I built, and enthusiasm. Starting with classroom management, I struggled with that my first year. So when you struggle with that, behaviors kick in. And yes, it's easy to point the finger at the students, but the reality of it is they notice when things aren't functioning right. So my class was a lot harder to, I'll say, manage, not control at that point. And when I'm dealing with behaviors, I wasn't able to teach how I want to, or how I saw it in my head. Relationships, that's by far the best thing about me, in my opinion. The relationship, sit. The relationships that I build with my students, they'll do whatever for me, and they know I'll do whatever for them. And when you have that with students, you're gonna get the best work ethic out of them that you can possibly get. That beats any incentive you can give them, any bribe, any promise. And enthusiasm. Once again, K through 5th, at least I can speak for. And another small tip, I've taught every grade too in 3 years. K through 5th, enthusiasm. The kids know when you want to be there and when you don't, or when you had a hard time or you're going through hard times, they pick up on that. Mm-hmm. My weaknesses, right now I'm struggling with finding the balance of implementing a little bit more rigor in my classroom. I have some kids that master my first teach like that, and they need to be pushed more, which isn't a bad thing, but I don't ever want to hit a plateau of growth. Second weakness, not necessarily a weakness, it's just something that I want to refine, is my first teach. And first teach is when you deliver the instruction for the first time to the students. And how you know if you did a good job on that is you got students, as soon as you deliver that teach and they already got questions, got their hands up, or how do they do, or 2 days later, you're doing an assignment on it and they're not following.
And they have no clue what you're even talking about.
Sometimes it could be students learning involved. However, for me personally, I think it's the first teach, and I want to be able to deliver better on that. Third thing was teaching to mastery. One of my biggest struggle is I try and keep up with our district's curriculum, and it moves so fast. It moves like that. So sometimes I feel that they're moving on to the next thing before I've taught my kids to mastery. Because there's a lot of prerequisites that you need to be able to go to the next thing. Especially in the state that we're in, there are grades that have state exit assessments.
They know we're in Texas.
So,
they can know we're in Texas.
Okay. Well, they take STAR, so you can't move on out of 5th grade unless you pass. That's not campus rule, that's a state rule. Last weakness is downtime. Got way too much downtime in my class.
I wish.
And when I say downtime, I don't mean like I got time for kids to go jump off the wall and quick right now. It's just there's things that I know I could be doing in place of other things to constantly keep the growth circulating in my classroom. So that's one thing I'm gonna fix. If you want to talk on your strengths and weaknesses.
So I kind of touched on these some that my strengths were my background in social work and knowing how kind of what he said build those relationships and those skills. And like quick story just about the relationships that I built with my students. Like I said, they had been through a lot with their previous teachers, some substitutes and things like that. So when I came in there, I made sure that they knew that I was there for them. That I'm not saying my last name, that I was in there for them. Like, this is our classroom. I'm here. We're here. I'm not just going to up and leave you, because when I tell y'all, those little babies were so traumatized. They were like, she left and she took all our stuff. And I mean, that was like all they focused on. So I just made sure to let them know and just show them like how much I cared about them. And they would always ask for hugs, and they would hug me, and they would write me notes and just little stuff like that. And like, there was one time, it was probably, I started in November, so December probably I had gotten sick, because you know your body has to adjust to being around little baby germs again. So anyways, I had gotten sick, and they literally cried. Like, they didn't think I was gonna come back because I left in like the middle of the day, and I was just like, you know, I have to go, I don't feel good, blah, blah. Like, I had no voice, and they literally were like crying because, like I said, they had already been through something. And I could leave out, I would have to leave out the classroom for like a meeting or something, and they would cry, or they would just be like, are you coming back? Like, we don't want you to leave. Like, that's how much, you know, we grew attached to each other just because of what they had been through and just the love that I shown them. So that was one of my strong suits, relationships, and then just seeing them be able to help each other. So like, having kindergartners is like I said, it's a whole different world, but having them be caring about each other when that's not, when technically that's not developmentally appropriate for that age, because at that age it's all about me. So for me to get them to understand the different skills and know how to help somebody tie their shoe and know how to help somebody with their work and just little things like that classroom literally ran like a little family. Like, by the end of the year, if I had taught something and they were working, I could literally sit at my desk and they would figure it out. They would go ask somebody else for help before they came to me, because that's the relationships I had them build in that classroom. So yeah, that was definitely one of my strong suits. And one of my weaknesses, like I said, was I'm kind of hard on myself, I would say, teaching. But I mean, I taught them things, but it was just hard for me. And like, knowing how to deliver the information in a way that was engaging, but also like instructional. Is that the right word?
Checking on my dog, y'all.
Yeah, so knowing how to do it in that way, and like the attention span of a 5-6-year-old is this long. So I would have to like keep them engaged. You know, we got to get through this stuff. You have to learn these things. So just that, finding the balance of that, and then knowing how to differentiate. That is a big word as a teacher.
What does that mean? I don't know what that means. What does that mean?
You know what it means. So knowing how to differentiate. So if you have this really high student that performs at this level and can do all these things, but you have a really low student, you wouldn't want to give them the same work, pretty much. So that was hard for me because it's just like they all need to be learning the same thing or doing the same thing, but they need to be doing it at their level or higher. So that was hard because that means literally preparing different things for different levels of kids. So that's something that I feel like I still don't have a grasp on, but it got better towards the end of the year. Getting them to learn, like simply put, getting them to learn. But I can say one of the biggest things that I thought going into teaching was like I've done it before. That's kind of what I felt like. I've done it before. I got it. It's a whole different world. But I can say I literally worked at the best school ever. I had the best kindergarten team ever. I had the best support around me. I could literally go across the hall and ask another kinder teacher for help. I had a really good mentor. That was our grade level chair that would literally send me files of stuff, and we all did our lesson plans together. So I will say that I had a really big, not advantage, but really big benefits being at that campus, and it was helpful because just thinking like, I was talking to my aunt who's a teacher and just with him as well, like having that and not having a lesson plan on my own, that's a lot, like, right? Like,
yeah, I had to do all those things.
That's what I'm saying. So having that support and having literally the lesson plan kind of given to me and being able to go off of that was super helpful being a first year teacher. And not even a full first year. Like I still don't feel like, because how many months is that? I literally only taught for 6 months.
Won't he do it?
That's crazy. I literally only taught for 6 months. So the amount of growth that I saw in 6 months in myself and in my students was crazy. And I can't wait because I'm enjoying my summer, but I can't wait to start fresh and like have those students from the beginning and be able to implement, be able to implement procedures and classroom management things and just take what I learned that I do want to do next year and things that I don't want to do, because I was talking, I think it was him and one of the other teachers at the school, she was like, one of the things you need to do for next year is like think about what you want to do differently. And I was like, everything. Like I literally learned from everything that I did on a day-to-day basis. So I just tried to be really self-aware of what went well, what didn't go well, and that was personally and with my students. So I'm excited to continue teaching and keep learning because I know there's still a lot more that I have to learn. And just being nicer to myself about my capabilities, because I did it and I think I did a pretty good job for only teaching for 6 months. So
I'm going to talk about what I did to get to where I'm at right now, which I think I'm in a good spot. I would just like to be way up here, way up here. First thing is, I lived in everyone else's classroom. Once again, kinder, first, second, third, fourth, fifth. Reason for that being is I did teach every grade, but at the same time, when MiMi was discussing differentiation and I'm struggling with rigor, if I got a kindergarten student and it's too easy for them, I'm gonna go to first grade and see how they present the same. Because we're in Texas. A teak is a teak. So whether they do addition in kinder or fifth, addition is still addition. The only thing that changes is the sum.
yeah,
That's
the
it.
numerical value of what they need to know.
That's it. So I would go and see, well, how are you presenting this? Same thing, if I got a second grader that's not necessarily performing on that grade level, go back to first grade because there's prerequisites they need to be able to do those on grade level things. So, and I had an amazing team. When I say team, whole campus. Everybody. There's not one teacher on my campus that didn't spend time in that classroom. Once I gained information and knowledge from them, I would take it back to my classroom and apply it as it was applicable. Couldn't take everything back, but there were some things that I could take and modify that my class thrived off of. To get to where I am, my expectations, I set expectations for myself really about everything. So with teaching and then the competitiveness in me, I want to be the best, period, at what we're doing. So if I'm teaching SPED, if I'm teaching math, reading and writing, and my scores are looked at, I want to have the best scores. So I set those expectations for myself, and I set high expectations for my students based on able to read what they were doing before I got to them, and me saying, well, I can get them here, I can push them there. Intentional planning, that was something I struggled with my first year because I planned, but I planned in an aspect of, I know I need to plan as a teacher, we got this lesson coming up, I got 50, 60, however many minutes it was to get this lesson planned out and say how I'm gonna teach. I looked at the curriculum, I know we're doing this. Planning was good. Talk to the other teachers. Am I boring you?
No, sorry. No, you're not. Sorry.
I talked to the other teachers, figured out how they were gonna teach it, thought it was good. And it was. Say it was good for a first year. But now my intentional planning is, so I'm digging into the curriculum. I'm looking at the prerequisites. I'm looking at what comes next. And I'm looking at my data to see, well, how do my students do when this certainty comes up? Or how have they done in the past for me when we get to this right here? So I can plan accordingly. So me personally as a teacher, I don't make the same mistake I did last time when this lesson came up. I spoke a little bit about the prerequisites. Those are very, very important to get to where I'm at now, because the reality of it is every student isn't on grade level. I hate to say it, that's just the reality. Some are behind, some learn slower than others, some learn faster than others. So the prerequisites are something I had to get familiar with in order to teach them their on grade level material. Accommodations and modifications, probably one of the biggest things to get to where I am right now. And I learned a great deal of that with teaching SPED, but when I got in the gen ed classroom, it's the same thing. I don't know if every teacher notices it, but we make accommodations and modifications for students on the daily. We give them manipulatives or visual aids or something that we know that can help their learning process. That's a modification or accommodation. And when you find what's right for that student, then you can start targeting their growth. My first teach, and I feel like this is about the 5th, 6th time I done spoke on this. To get to where I am now, my first teach has gotten a whole lot better, because when I first started, I said I looked at it as I got to keep up with the district. I got this curriculum. This week they may give me 21 days. This week they may give me 10. So now spending more time on my first teach has helped me tremendously on the back end. So it's moving. I got to have the data. I got to have the concrete artifacts to show that my kids are learning. So here's an assessment every Friday. Let's get it out the way. Now I do assessments completely different. My assessment may be raise your hand and show me if you know this, or go to that corner, I'll put up an A, B, C, and D, put a multiple choice question up, and let the students go freely pick which answer they want. That's an assessment. Just more of those, and less paper tests. Fun activities. My classroom, y'all, was probably so boring that first year, but my kids performed very, very, very well for me on STAR. But it was probably so boring because it was so curriculum based, and what they had on there is what was being taught. Now, I'll take the time when we get a unit, and I'll give y'all an example. I was teaching area and perimeter, and instead of just giving the usual rectangle square with find the missing side, the area is this, the perimeter is this, put that in, give them 15 problems. This year, Fortnite was popular at the time when I was doing it, still is. Shout out to Fortnite, endorse. I had them construct their own map. And so what they had to do is they had to find the area and the perimeter of the buildings they were doing.
Stop.
And when I did this, we brought out all the deeper digging of all those wheels in that brain. Oh, they got to turn in. Students now talking to each other. How are you going to do this? We were on Fortnite and we had this. Do you remember that building? And we're going to try and do this. And so when I did that, I just had to sit back, and I would have kids that went above and beyond. Students who, we'll say, didn't perform for me as well as others, now they're up here because I gave them something that piques their interest. So for me, I'm thinking that on a piece of paper, they're gonna construct this building. He comes in with a 2-piece of paper that shows the top layer of this thing, but then there's a bunker underneath with more places and obstacles where he's had the area and perimeter. So fun activities and student-led assignments.
That's a big thing. Student-led, you should have a student-led classroom. Student choice, everything should be a choice. Well, not everything, but pretty much that's how they want it. Everything should be a choice in the classroom. So like he said, student-led assignments, like I said, my students would pretty much lead my classroom. They would go to each other. They would choose, you know, their centers, et cetera, et cetera.
What did you do to get to where you at?
What I did to get to where I ended when did we end school? May? I don't even know. Y'all, the reason we have hats on and look, it's summer, so neither one of my hair's not done. He hasn't had a haircut. So y'all gonna get these summer looks until we go somewhere. But anyways, yeah, so what I did to get to where I am is pretty much just self-reflect. I did a lot of self-reflecting. I don't have any success stories. I don't have any like specific stories like he has. I literally self-reflected almost every single day. Because that's how I learned and like, wait, what?
Stuff like that make me want to open my own YouTube channel, but y'all, I can't deliver content like that.
So anyways, the point is that yes, he would try to help, but it was not the help that I needed, and that was frustrating because it was like, you know me well enough, you know me outside of being a teacher, so you know that one, I am sensitive and can be emotional. So like, let's address that first. Make me feel better first. That's all I wanted. Like, make me feel better first, and then let's talk about teaching.
Eddie, what, baby? What it do?
What you on, bro?
Say hi to the girl. You on the
YouTube video.
You on the YouTube video? Yeah.
You doing it right now?
Yeah, you on the camera.
He not looking.
Yeah.
You want to be on my channel?
Good.
What do you say?
Bet. I'm about to leave here. I'll call you back.
All right, bet.
He wasn't listening. Get down. Self-reflect and ask for help. And the help that I did not receive from him, I received.
She got from that great team that she told you she
I got
had.
from that great
I just
team.
wasn't in a position to help. That's not. She wouldn't have got the best out of me. Because if I would have helped her how she wanted to, I felt so hand behind my back, handicapped. I would have just been telling her what, because she said, I know her, I would have just been telling her what she wanted to hear. And to me, that's not help. In my opinion, I'm not saying it's not help. Just for the occupation we have, I wouldn't.
And I'm asking. Like.
And I just wasn't, and I mean, maybe this year, I wasn't in a position to help. So maybe the more I grow as a person, I'll be able to help her how she wants. My fault. My dog is just going.
Y'all, this video, I'm putting this video up because we've been supposed to film this video for 2 weeks.
Sit.
Since we've been out of school.
Sit. Good boy.
But
yeah, I just have to grow. As she said, self-reflect. I have to do that in a completely different aspect. Of course, along with teaching, but I got some other reflecting to do before I can help her.
Thank you. And then we are going to end out this video of discussing where we want to be this summer. So
Been working since we got out.
Yeah, he's been working. I've been at home looking like this, looking like a bum and enjoying it. But anyway, so you want to start where you want to be?
Why don't you start?
Well, I've just got done talking.
Okay, good. Talk some more. Where you want to be? What you need to work on?
But I just talked about that.
Okay, so where you want to be?
Where I want to be. I want to be, and you know what? I was gonna say I want to be more confident in the classroom, but I think I was pretty confident in the classroom. Like when we would have observers and we would have people come in from the district for different reasons, and they would come into my classroom, they would all say that they would have never guessed that I was a first year teacher, or they didn't believe that I was a first year teacher just because of how comfortable I was in the classroom and with my students. So that was a good thing for me. But I want to just be more confident in my teaching, because I would second guess, like I would teach them something or we would do something and I would second guess myself. But then when it came time for them to do the work and they would produce the work, a good amount of my students would get it. So I think just being more confident in my abilities and just really figuring out my classroom. Like every classroom is different, even in the same school. Like even the same grade, same whatever, you kind of same lesson, but every classroom is different. And last year I didn't get the chance to make my classroom because like I said, I came in mid-year. The classroom, get out of the blinds, boy. The classroom was already decorated. The kids kind of already had their, their things going. So one thing I want to do is, no, get in your bed. Get in your bed. It's just make my classroom and have high expectations, not only for myself but for my students, and just really have a bomb classroom, like looks wise, flow wise, like just have like a bomb classroom. Like my classroom coming down the hallway and they're like, dang, you see that kindergarten classroom? Like that's what because there were some classrooms that I saw that I would be looking like, dang, them kids is like, they doing it. And I want to be that teacher. I want to have that classroom. I just want to have that classroom management. That's a big thing. Classroom management. I want to get that under control where it's just like boom, boom, bam. So, yeah.
And that's when we're opposite people.
A bomb teacher. What?
I want the numbers.
Yeah.
I'm real performance based. And I think we're looked upon in that aspect too.
And that's again, you're a principal.
It's a state.
I know that, but I'm just saying, like, your principal, y'all have like a whole data wall, and y'all, you know what I mean? Like y'all school is very data driven, and not saying that mine isn't. It's just I work at a primary school, so we literally only have pre-K through first. So yes, the district is data driven, and yes, we are looked at based on our data, but it's not pushed as hard as, you know what I mean? Like, I don't know how to make that make sense, right?
Yeah.
Like,
what she's saying, or how I took that as, is just we're two different campuses. Both of them are data driven. One of them may rely on data more than the other.
And
I would like to be comfortable and knowledgeable in the different areas I teach. That was real basic.
I think we both just want to be like really good teachers, and for both of us, it comes from different.
Yeah, what I consider a very good teacher is going to look different than hers. We both obviously are going to have the students' best interest first when we say good teacher, but it's going to look two different ways.
I don't want to just be like a cute teacher. I want to be a good overall teacher, but I want to be a bomb-ass teacher. On this end, that's cute, and on this end, that's data. He don't care about being cute. Like, I want to have a cute-ass classroom. Like, and speaking of classroom, so for the past 2 years, I've helped him decorate his classroom, and I've done all the stuff, and now it's my turn, because like I said, I didn't really get to decorate my classroom because it was a lot. So I'm excited about that. What's one thing you're excited about for next year?
The opportunity to teach.
I'm excited to decorate my classroom. Yeah. That's it? Got anything else to say? Do you enjoy teaching?
Love it.
See, and y'all, he didn't
Love
even
it.
want to be a teacher. I'm the one. It's crazy because I encouraged him.
I'm going to do something else, though, that's going to blow y'all's mind when this is all said and done, but I'm not.
I mean, we're both in school to do something different.
I'm not going to leak that information out yet,
But yes, so little background, we are both teachers. We are both in school, and we're planning a wedding. It's real crazy around here. And he works 11 other jobs. So yeah.
Summer school being one of them, what can I say? Love to teach.
Yeah, he does summer school. I'm not about that life. Especially not my first year. I wanted to enjoy it, my summer. And then, like, it's so weird literally not having anything to do. Like, I just be like, I don't really got nothing to do. I mean, I do have stuff to do, but you know what I mean? Like, I ain't got to get up for work in the morning. I might have a training that's going to last between 3 or 6 hours, and then that's it. So, he's about to go take the dog out. I'm going to end this video. Let us know if you have any other teacher-related questions in the comments below, and we will answer them. So, like we said, this was our teaching experience from a first-year teacher. Really wasn't the first year; it was only 6 months, which is crazy, and a third-year teacher. And maybe we'll do some updates here and there.
If y'all got questions, ask me, because I was trying to keep this real vanilla.
That
but
first
if y'all
one was
got
still like 30
questions,
minutes. That's what they're going to ask in the comments. You'll be able to answer. Yeah, so come say bye real quick. Well, I guess you already did. Showing y'all his ring. So yes, he wears an engagement ring. Our first year and third year of teaching experience. If you have any questions, be sure to leave them down below, and we'll answer them. And yeah, let me know if there's any other teacher-related videos that you want to see while I am on summer break. We will be filming some more videos. I will be filming some more videos. I just kind of wanted to take the first couple weeks to just do nothing. So yeah, and make sure you like, comment, subscribe, share this video with anyone and everyone, and let them know what your girl is over here doing on her channel. I will post more. And yeah, I'll see y'all in my next video.